Joe Duffy for picks and parlays. I'm going to preview the Penn State UCLA college football game for Saturday. Now, again, the game is Saturday. If you're watching this on Friday or Thursday, I'm going to tell you about an incredible promo Picks and Parlays has going on for Friday. You know, I like to do my own video editing. I was tempted to download a little bit of Rebecca Black, some of her video, and put it on here, but I didn't want to get flagged for any copyright violations, so maybe I should do a Rebecca Black cover. Friday, everyone get down on Friday, getting ready for the weekend, or something like that. Anyway, make sure you watch this entire report. I got fantastic news for those of you who want to get the best premium plays in the world at a ridiculously low price on Friday. On this report, I'm also going to take a look at the look-ahead line, the opening line, some line movement, betting splits, incredible super systems, and a whole lot more, some quote-unquote intangibles that very much apply in this game. And yes, of course, I'm going to give you a free pick. Make sure you sign up for a long-term package right now, Joe Duffy's Picks, at Picks and Parlays. NBA's just around the corner. You've been with me for many decades. You know I've got some incredible NBA betting systems that win every single year. College basketball, like I said, 2 blocks away. So lock in long term. You probably want to get the all sports pack, but maybe you only bet 1 or 2 sports. You've got those options too at Picks and Parlay. All right, let's get to it now. This information is from Odds Logic, which I love. I personally especially love it for some of the contrarian information that I use, but Odds Logic is great for everything, including line shopping. Always best to have many outs. Shop for the best line, no matter how good your picks are, no matter how bad your picks are, no matter whether you're betting $10 or $10,000, shopping for the best line always is a good idea. Look ahead line saw Penn State minus 27.5 and 50.5. The actual opening line was minus 26, but also 50.5. Now, according to Odds Logic, as I file this report, the best line available, Penn State minus 25.5, minus 105, or UCLA plus 25.5 at minus 110. The best, maybe I should sing you better shop around, too. Best totals, over 49.5 at minus 110, or under 50.5 at minus 112. And yeah, when it comes to college football, especially with totals, you definitely want to shop around. Odds Logic's going to save you some money. It'll save you juice. It'll get you an extra half point here and there. And when it comes to totals in basketball, especially college basketball, it can be a 2-point difference. Now the splits, 58% of the tickets, 73% of the money is down on Penn State. A little surprised, not only on Odds Logic, but I'd like to use some corroborating information. Not enough on the total, so we don't really have any splits to report on the total. Now, some of the great super systems, we don't have everything pointing in one direction. Usually when I do have everything pointing in one direction, it does become a premium pick. At Joe Duffy's Pick, still, I got a very strong play here on one of the sides, and I'm going to tell you about it in a minute. Underachieving teams in college football. Now, that's defined as we take how many times this year have they been a favorite, and then subtract the number of wins they have. And when they've been underachieving by at least 2 games, that means they've lost at least 2 games as a favorite, 2 more games as a favorite they've lost, or they have 2 fewer wins than they've been posted as a favorite this year, is what I'm trying to say. And so that's how I'm defining an underachieving as far as this system is concerned. Those teams are actually good plays because they're undervalued. 143 and 79, that would favor UCLA. And again, the logic is pretty simple. The odds makers are very rarely wrong long term. So, of course, short term, some teams underachieve. The regression in college football isn't anything like it is in the NFL, but when a team has been underachieving, they are, not shockingly, undervalued. However, only 25 and 24 when such team is a home underdog, but in this case, UCLA is a massive home underdog. So 7-1 if they're home underdogs of 20 or more, and underachieving teams, as I just defined for you. In fact, 28-14 in any location as dogs of 17 or more. Still talking about underachieving teams. And regardless of the game number, by the way, I'm sorry, the This stat was most effective in the first 6 games of the year, but regardless of the game number, it's a 197, 135, and 1, and the winning percentage goes up as the number of wins, difference between wins and games as a favorite goes up. So it's more about like a percentage. So it's a high number for early in the year, but late in the year, the high number still holds up. So essentially, going with underachieving teams under just about every circumstance is a great play. Statistically incredible when the team is a massive home underdog, although the sample size is fairly small. Now, fade teams off of a loss as a top 3 team, our famed bubble burst theory. 58, 28, and 1. That would favor UCLA. Obviously, Penn State off of a loss to Oregon. And the bubble burst works in all kinds of sports. Remember, in college football, I have several different versions of it. But the higher they go, the harder they fall. So, especially when a team is highly ranked, but also if the harder they fall also means the margin of loss. So, quite frankly, the bubble burst works best when they're off of blowout losses, which this obviously is not the case. But I think, and again, I don't have everything memorized, I think it's about 17 points maybe. When a team is off their first loss of the year by 17 or more, they're a great go against. But make sure you subscribe to my premium picks because that might apply a couple times this weekend. Now, it's also worth noting as a side note, even though this angle is 58, 28, and 1 ATS, it's only 14 and 72 straight up. The reason I bring that up is when people say something like, all you have to do is pick the team that wins outright, and you're going to have the spread winner. The spread really doesn't matter. That's a perfect example of inductive versus deductive reasoning, and I've got a lot of theories and a lot of videos that I want to do for you. But keep that in mind. I'm going to do a video when I explain how so few people who bet know the difference between inductive and deductive reasoning, and that's a good example where people say, the spread doesn't, all you got to do is pick the team that wins outright. Completely false as far as a handicapping angle. And we'll explain that why on a future video. Still, though, the intangible here, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later on in this video, it's a quality loss. Now, remember, college basketball, when we're talking about the NCAA tournament, used to talk about quality loss. Well, now that there's 12 playoff teams, quality loss is an important thing here. So, really, I don't think that Penn State should be too dejected over that loss. Now, conversely, away favorites of 3 or more off of double overtime. This will surprise you. You probably think an away favorite of 3 or more off a double overtime game, tough circumstance, right? No, they're actually 18 and 5 against the spread. However, only 1 and 4 the last 5. My message here is don't assume, but the fact that it is heading in the more intuitive direction, but don't assume that because a team is a big road favorite off of a tough game, they would be a great go against. History says that's not necessarily the case. Again, teams off a double overtime loss and then they hit the road as pretty big favorites have been good plays, though not recently. All right, Penn State, and this is what I would call, one of the intangibles to consider in this game. Old organic handicapping, as I like to call it, old-fashioned. Penn State's always been a Peter Principle team. They take care of business against bad teams, and of course, they lose to the elite teams. We all know about Franklin's record against ranked teams, and he completely dominates bad teams. So I do think that's going to be the case here with Penn State. Sure, they're traveling over 2,500 miles, but people were saying that last week. Ohio State traveled to Washington, where they had a pretty impressive game in Pullman. Remember, Division I level with all the money, NIL money, etc., they're traveling fine. I don't really put that much stock into the whole travel thing. This isn't a Division II team that's staying at Motel 6 and flying in coach and all this other stuff, or even traveling, far by bus. The travel thing, I wouldn't, it's factored in a little bit, but don't get too excited. Now, UCLA might be in a letdown situation. They're off their most winnable game at Northwestern. They wound up losing it. And, of course, we know about Nico Ilamale. I really don't think that UCLA, he's a tough guy to rally around. We know that whole situation there. Power ratings, Sportsline has Penn State winning 35-12. 62% of the simulations say this game will go under, and they have UCLA covering 58%. Massey ratings has Penn State winning 20.5-21, and the total about 48.5-49, so a pretty strong edge, they say, to UCLA. Still, My pick is Penn State. I'm going to lay the number, Penn State minus 25.5. I think they need a statement win. Penn State, throw out a lot of those statistics. Penn State specifically, under Franklin, they've been crushing teams that they should crush. And again, they have plenty of reason to run up the score here. They're still big time in the playoff picture. Now, I told you about Friday. I and most of the handicappers on picks and parlays, if you're watching this, again, maybe you're watching this Saturday and expired, but we're probably going to do this promotion a lot more. $7 for the best bets of me and some of the other great handicappers at picks and parlays. So if you're watching this by Friday, make sure you download all my best bets for Friday. Will be just $7. Oh, yeah, by the way, please hit that like button. Please subscribe, comment. I'll respond. If you want me to look up a system, I will look it up for you. And check out this next video from the Picks and Parlays team.